We're going to be talking all about Across the Spiderverse, the trailer, a short breakdown of it that's mainly focused on what is Miguel's beef with Miles. But before I get into any more, check out the intro. For those of you who don't know, Miguel Ohara is also known as Spiderman 2099. He is the version of Spiderman from the year 2099. His alter ego, Miguel Ohara, in Nueva York, is a man who has a lot of gadgets. And we get to see that at the end of Into the Spider-Verse. We get that really awesome cameo by an amazing actor, the same actor who played Poe Dameron in Star Wars. And it's just really interesting the way that they start off the trailer for Across the Spider-Verse. Across the Spider-Verse obviously being the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, where everyone kind of dives into, dives into the Spider-Verse within Miles Morales' Spider-Verse. Now we see Miles get sucked out of his universe and sucked into different universes. In this trailer, we actually see him go to two different universes. First, we see him go to the Spider-Man in India, which I would butcher the name if I even tried. And then we end up in Nueva York, where Miguel tackles Miles into the road. Now, it's hard to tell why this happens, but I'm going to try to break it down and see if we can try to figure out some context of why this might be happening. Now, obviously, there's the easiest one. Miguel has a beef with Miles. Something happened that Miguel did not agree with, and Miles was at the center of it. Maybe it is the events of Into the Spider-Verse that Miguel just does not agree with Miles on. He is out there to kind of say, Miles, you really screwed up. Like, something happened. Now, that's the less likely case, because at the end of Into the Spider-Verse, we see that woman talking to Miguel saying, hey, guess what? The Spider-Verse isn't ruined. It's all good. Like, the multiverse is okay. We're good to go. No worries. Here's your goober. And she goes, no, it's actually a gizmo, whatever. And he jumps to the beginning, which is obviously the 60s era Spider-Man TV show, where you get that meme of the Spider-Man pointing at each other, who are you? Who are you? And we get this really awesome callback at the end, this cool cameo of Spider-Man 2099 and obviously 60s Spider-Man and his amazing friends, I want to say it was. So that could be kind of the aggressor that Miguel tries to go back to the beginning and then can't figure out a way to move out of that multiverse, that he's kind of stuck there. And he wants Miles' help. So finally, he figures out a way to get Miles to come to his universe, and Miles starts kind of multiverse hopping and ends up where Miguel is in Nueva York, which we see in the trailer. And I think best case scenario is that Miguel is trying to enlist Miles and kind of tackles him to avoid him falling out of the multiverse at a point where it's not going to work out well. Kind of like we saw in Into the Spider-Verse, where he gets shot out and ping pongs off of a bunch of different places. That's theory number one, and I think that's probably the best theory, but at the same time, that's also kind of the premise for No Way Home. So to then do that again is okay, why? Pick something new, Sony. So other really cool way that they could play it. Miguel is not a fan of Miles. He doesn't like the way that it was handled. And something happened where they both have separate views on it. And Miguel's like, no, we're doing it this way. Not your way, we're doing it this way. Which, again, is a lot like No Way Home. So I'm not really a fan of that theory either. Because then that kind of lends itself to, once again, being this reused plot line. The one that I'm really on board for is a villain who is using Miguel to get to Miles. Now, we know that there's a couple villains in Spider-Man's rogue gallery of just amazing villains that include people who can kind of twist people's mind, twist people's thought into believing what they want to believe. One of these people that I could see it being is Ringmaster, but the one that I would really, really, really like to see is a proper, well-done Mysterio. Not saying that MCU's Mysterio isn't great. Jake Gyllenhaal played that very well. But I think it would be really awesome if we got to see a really cool multiversal Mysterio battle, where Mysterio is actually using Miguel to try to take down the other Spider people. Now, would that work? That's where it kind of would be up to the writing. Like, you gotta play that the right way in order for it to play out and be believable. But would Marvel and Sony be able to pull it off? Hell yeah. Totally, 100%. I am on board with it. They would be able to pull something like that off, mainly because you would be seeing this really cool development in these characters. Not that that can't spill over into the MCU. Not that Sony's animated universe is or has to be 100% separate, but it almost needs to be in order to lend itself to being this entity that's a Spiderverse-esque. I think it's going to be really awesome to see Mysterio kind of pulling those strings and whatnot of Miguel and making sure to try to figure out the multiversal jump that's possible, and then kind of get the lowdown on all of these spider heroes in the Spider-Verse and maybe try to turn them. Let me know what you think in the comments below. These are the three ways that I could see it playing out. You've got Mysterio taking over Miguel. Miguel and Miles just not agreeing on a way to solve a problem, and that's why they're going at it. And Miguel needing Miles' help to the point where he's willing to pull him out of his universe and into Nueva York and that universe, and that it's not really him beating him up, but it's more him catching him just rather abrasively and aggressively. So again, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and as always, Loungers assemble. Stay nerdy, comic fam. We'll see you soon. You can go over there and subscribe, or go over there and watch another video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you Friday night on our weekly Comics Lounge. Can't wait.